Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and I am going to do our April the 28th, just for today in a meditation. How are you doing out there today? I'm in so much arthritic pain. I'm literally sitting here with a neck pillow, propping myself up to be able to do this today. So I welcome your prayers. The title of the meditation now is Who Really Gets Better? We can also use the steps to improve our attitudes. Our best thinking got us into trouble. We recognize the need for change. Now, that comes from our basic text, page 55. When new in recovery, most of us had at least one person we just couldn't stand. We thought that person was the rudest, most obnoxious person in the program. We knew there was something we could do, some principle of recovery we could practice to get over the way we felt about this person. But what? We asked our sponsor for guidance. We were probably assured, with an amused smile, that if we just keep coming back, we see the person get better. That made sense to us. We believe that the steps of NA worked in the lives of everyone. If they could work for us, they could work for this horrible person too. Time passed, and at some point, we noticed that the person didn't seem as rude or obnoxious as before. In fact, he or she had become downright tolerable, maybe even likable. We got a pleasant jolt as we realized who had really gotten better. Because we had kept coming back, because we had kept working the steps, our perception of this person had changed. The person who plagued us had become tolerable because we developed some tolerance. He or she had become likable because we developed the ability to love. So, who really gets better? We do. As we practice the program, we gain a whole new outlook on those around us by gaining a new outlook on ourselves. Just for today, as I get better, so will others. Today, I will practice tolerance and try to love those I meet. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please, and thank you. So who really gets better? Well, of course, we know it's us, right? We know that through time, working the steps, working with a sponsor, um, staying clean, making meetings, we develop spiritually and we develop mentally and we develop even emotionally, right? And for many of us, even physically, we get better. Many of us do start to take our health seriously and do the things that we need to do to maintain a healthy lifestyle, healthy body. So even physically, we begin to change, right? Uh, but let's talk about what it's talking about in the beginning, right? The first paragraph where all of us probably has someone we couldn't stand. You know, as soon as I read that sentence, the person flashed up in my mind immediately because I can remember thinking to myself, what kind of recovery is this? This is literally the rudest, most obnoxious individual that I have ever met, probably in life. At that time, that's what I was thinking. And today, I would have to say they're in the top 5, right? Well, let me tell you something. over a period of time, I began to change. And when I would see them in the atmosphere of recovery, my response to them mentally changed, right? Their behavior did not change. I don't think their behavior probably changed for a good 15 to 18 years, somewhere in there, right? As far as I can remember, their behavior did not change. The way that they spoke, the way that they act, the way they engaged other people when they would walk into a room, their behavior did not change for many, 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 many years. And I realized that I was not the only person with the same thought. And I also realized that everyone's concern for their behavior had already been expressed, and that this person's behavior was likely, today, I would say, a personality disorder, right? I would say it could probably be changed, but there will always be this underlying behavior, or I won't even call it an attribute, but characteristic about them. I didn't realize that then, but I realize it today. But their behavior began to change after many years, and it was a direct result of a life-changing event that the individual encountered. And that life-changing event required the family of Narcotics Anonymous to assist them in order for them to be able to stay connected to us. Because back then there was no Zoom platform for meetings. Understand, not even 13, 14 years ago, there was no such thing as being able to make a meeting on Zoom. So they relied on the fellowship, and they have I don't want to say quite a bit more than me, but they have, probably 5, 6 more years clean than I do. But around that time period, the life-changing experience they had began to change them. And the fellowship began to change the way it interacted with them. And the fellowship took on carrying the message to this still suffering addict that had decades at this point of clean time. And so if I can grow, they can grow. If I can grow, you can grow. If I can become more tolerant, you can become more tolerant. I saw this individual's way of engaging people begin to soften. There was so much gratitude for the fact that they could be mean, obnoxious, and rude for this many years and end up needing the fellowship on a desperate level to stay clean. And the fellowship meet them where they were at. And that began to change them. It took a long time. If I would have held my breath waiting for them to change, I probably would not be here anymore. And so what's the point? The point is that if I get better, you get better. If you get better, they get better. So whoever it is that is really irking you, they're really taking up too much space in your mind today. You deserve the best. You deserve to have a great life and a great day. And I can say that without any doubt, that no matter what you've done, when you come into recovery, you begin to develop this ideal that I can do this. I had a horrible past. I used most likely over a lot of those things, but I don't have to do that today. I don't have to let my past control me today. And one of those ways that you can do that is by not letting others and their behavior stop you from benefiting and accessing this program. No one individual should have that much power. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. Of course, I'm going to have a great day on purpose. Even with all this pain that I'm in, I am going to have a great day on purpose because I choose to. And I want for you to do the same. Have a beautiful day on purpose.